GSM, everybody have heard that word at one time or the other. And here you have this mobile phone. I use my Samsung Galaxy mobile phone. And here I have this my BlackBerry mobile phone or smartphone, as some might call it. So you might have yours, and I know that everybody in this world may have benefited in one way or the other from the benefits of the GSM. So this video is not explanation of the GSM technology, it's not explanation of the GSM and how it works. It's not even an explanation of what happens when you place a call and the receiver answers your phone call. It's an explanation of the various building blocks that make up the GSM architecture. So it will be a two-part video. The first one, I explain the architecture in general and some of the components, and in the next video, I go ahead to explain the roles of various components of the GSM network architecture. So I hope this video is going to be informative for you. So let's get started. I presented it in form of slides, and along the line, I will be making explanations as I flip through the slides. I hope you'll find it interesting. Hello, my name is Kainton Munonye, and in this video, I'm going to go through the GSM architecture in a nutshell. And actually, this video is not a discussion of the technologies involved in GSM, or it's not a discussion of the history of GSM. It's actually a discussion of the various subsystems of various building blocks that make up a GSM network. But just as a preamble, as an introduction, let's look at briefly how GSM works. How the few lines of text I've written there. GSM stands for Global System of Mobile Communication. Is actually a system that allows users to connect and make calls or exchange other forms of data, no matter or irrespective of wherever they are in the globe. So it represents a set of worldwide standards for cellular phones that offer roaming facility. The word roaming means being able to place a call when you are outside your home area. It may be you travel abroad or in a different countries or up in the high sea, and you're able to make a call to your home location. It allows subscribers in different geographical locations to connect and exchange data. Well, this is just the basics. Maybe in another video I'm going to explain the history and the various technologies that evolved to the GSM. Maybe you can also check out my previous video where I discuss the evolution of mobile communication, and I discuss the generations of mobile networks. So now let's get started. We want to discuss the subsystems of the GSM networks. Basically, we have four subsystems. One, the BSS, known as the base station subsystem. Then we have the mobile station, the TS. Then we have the network and switching subsystem, the NSS. Then we have the network management subsystem, the NMS, sometimes it's called the operation and support subsystem. So let's start with the base station subsystem. But in a nutshell, just know that the base station subsystem is the subsystem that connects you or your handset to the base station or the base station. So it connects mobile station to the NSS, to the network and switching subsystem, and controls the transmission and reception. So the base station subsystem is made up of these items I listed here. The BTS is called the base transceiver station, and you can always recognize the BTS when you see a mast standing there when you drive out to town. You always see this telecoms mast. It houses the base transceiver station right up there. So we have the BSC, that is the base station controller for controlling the base transceiver station. We also have the transcoding and rate adaptation unit for switching between data formats. I'm going to explain this a little later. Now we have the next one, the mobile station. Simply, this is the easiest one to understand. When you have a phone and you put a SIM card right inside, you have a mobile station. That yes here, it should be a typo. It is MS. So the mobile station is made up of the subscriber identity module, that is a SIM, and also a mobile equipment. So now when you have your SIM card, that is the subscriber identity module, the SIM is a small card that houses your personal information and some other details. Mobile equipment is your phone. Then we have the network and switching subsystem. Now we have a movement from data moved from you holding the mobile station to the base transceiver to the base station subsystem. Then the next on the line is the network and switching subsystem (NNS), which manages communication between the mobile users and other users, and is made up of a number of items and databases. It's made up of one, the mobile switching center (MSC), the most prominent part of the network and switching subsystem. Then we have a gateway MSC for connecting with other networks outside the GSM. We have the home location register, a database, visitor location register, also a database, authentication center for handling authentication, equipment and identity register, a database too that contains details of database or database of equipment, mainly mobile equipment. We have the network management subsystem (NMS) or the OSS, operation and support subsystem. This is actually not a component per se, but various support services given by the service providers that ensure that network operates in an efficient manner and users are provided with quality service. So you can memorize these four subsystems. First, the base station subsystem, the network and the switching subsystem, the mobile station, and the network and management subsystem. So, as I mentioned before, I'm going to discuss these subcomponents of each subsystem. I'm going to discuss them, their functions and their roles, and the architecture. So maybe we'll start with the base transceiver station. I say that the base transceiver station is one of the prominent aspects of the base station subsystem. And when you see a mast standing out there with lights blinking on top, remember the base transceiver station, actually a collection of a few antennas transmitting and receiving signals from your handset. So this corresponds to the transceivers and antennas used in each cell. It takes care of air interference, air interface signaling, ciphering and speech processing, handles actual connection between users and the base station, actually connection between user and the base transceiver station. So when we say base station, it's actually base transceiver station. Each base transceiver station has between 1 and 16 transmitters, of course depending on the density of users in the location area. So it can be a few, between 1 and 5 for a place having low population density, maybe getting closer between 10 and 15 to 16 for regions having a very high user density. So this is about the base transceiver station. Just call it a transceiver, or transceiver for sending and receiving signals from you. Then the next item we are going to discuss is the base station controller. Now, the base station controller controls the base station, or the base station controller controls the base transceiver station. Now there is no one-to-one match between the base station controller and the base transceiver station. So the base station controller, a single base station controller, controls a number of base transceiver stations. So this is very important and is a central network element of the base station subsystem. As I've mentioned, the base station controller, the BSC, controls a group of base transceiver stations and it manages radio resources. It maintains radio connection to the mobile station, that is your handset, and also it maintains a connection between the network and support subsystem and the satellites or whatever extended communication components are there. They will have the base station controller is in charge of handovers, frequency hopping, exchange function, and control of radio frequency and power levels of the BTS. So a situation whereby a user is making a phone call and he's moving from one area to another away from the current base station that connected his call. Well, the connection is handed over to another base transceiver station, and this continues. So this handover to the current base transceiver station is called handover. So the base station controller controls handover of communication or connectivity between base stations. Then the last item I would like to discuss is the transcoding and rate adaptation unit. This is also a component of the base station subsystem. It takes care of speech transcoding, that is, it takes care of converting speech from one digital coding format to another. I would like to just do a review. Take note of the four major components: the BSS, the base station subsystem, the NSS, network and switching subsystem, the mobile station, MS, then we have the network management subsystem, and also it's called the operation and support subsystem. So I'd like to give a block diagram of the GSM architecture in the next slide. So this is basically how the GSM architecture looks like. We have the mobile station made up of the SIM, your SIM card, and the mobile equipment, your phone. Then we have it connects to the base station subsystem made up of the BTS, the base transceiver station, base station controller, and the transcoding and rate adaptation unit. The BSS connects to the NSS, the network and switching subsystem. In the network and switching subsystem, we say we have some databases: the VLR, Visitor Resource Location Register, Home Location Register, EIR, Equipment Identity Register. We have also the Authentication Center. Now we have the GMSC, the Gateway Mobile Switching Center, and this is responsible for connecting to other networks. So if you pick up your handset and try to make a call to maybe a different network, a DEX phone, a fixed wireless device phone, it has to go through the gateway MSC out there. So we have these NMS, the operation and support subsystem, actually have some connectivity between all the three other subsystems mentioned. You have this connectivity to your mobile station, you have to the BSS and to the NSS. Well, we've discussed three items: the base transceiver station, we also discussed the base station controller, and we discussed the transcoding and rate adaptation unit. And these are only just the components of the base station subsystem. So in the next slide, I'll discuss the network and switching subsystem, and the various components. I hope this video has been informative for you. Please, if that is the case, please below there you can like my video, make some comments, and you can also share it around with your friends. I'll be updating with more videos, so maybe you may just have to subscribe to my channel so that you'll be updated with new videos. I'd like to thank you for viewing.